You paid off your credit card in full this month, and your score still dropped. It felt like you had finally done everything by the book. Back home, that would have been the smartest move you could make. Zero debt meant zero risk, and zero risk meant trust. Here, the system reads that exact same move completely differently. A balance of zero doesn't tell an American lender you're responsible. It tells them there's nothing left to measure. Credit scoring isn't actually built around debt at all. It's built around a number called utilization. Utilization is simply how much of your available credit you're using right now. A completely empty card reports a utilization rate of 0%. And 0% doesn't read as discipline to the algorithm. It reads as an absence of usable data. The system isn't asking whether you're debt-free. It's asking whether you're responsible.
It's asking whether there's enough evidence to trust you. Picture two newcomers with the exact same $5,000 credit limit. One of them never touches the card, determined to avoid any risk. The other spends $50 on it every month and pays it off in full. The second person's score climbs steadily within a few months. The first person's score barely moves at all, sometimes for an entire year. Both of them are debt-free at the end of every single month. Only one of them is actually building a file the system can read. That's the gap between feeling safe and actually being protected. The difference between those two scores can run 40 or 50 points wide. 50 points is often the line between an approval and a denial. A denial like that can mean a bigger security deposit on an apartment.
It can also mean needing a cosigner just to finance a car. This is the part nobody explains before you land here. A credit score isn't a reward for avoiding debt. It's a record of how you handle credit while it's active. No activity means no record, and no record means no trust. That's why just never use it quietly backfires for so many newcomers. The card sits in a drawer, untouched, technically safe. Meanwhile, the file that's supposed to prove you're reliable stays empty. Some newcomers go a step further and close the card entirely. That move can hurt even more than letting it sit idle. Closing an account shortens your overall credit history length immediately. It also lowers your total available credit all at once. Both of those numbers feed directly into your score. So the responsible choice ends up working against the exact goal it was trying to protect. None of this is about being careless with money. It's about understanding what the system is actually built to track. Utilization under 30% is generally considered healthy by most models. Under 10% is usually treated as ideal. 0%, oddly enough, isn't the top of that scale.
A small reported balance each month beats a permanently empty one. Here's where most explanations stop, but the mechanism goes one step further. Your balance isn't measured on the day you pay it off. It's measured on the day your statement closes. That date is set by the card issuer, not by you. Most issuers list this exact closing date inside their banking app. If your statement closes while you owe $20, that's what gets reported. You can still pay the full balance right after, with zero interest charged. The reported number and the interest you owe are two completely separate things. This is the detail almost every newcomer guide leaves out completely. You're not being told to carry debt or pay interest. You're being told to let a small balance exist on statement day. One small recurring charge, like a streaming subscription, handles this automatically. It doesn't need to be a large purchase to count. Let it post, let the statement close, then pay it off in full. The system records light, consistent usage instead of total silence. Over months, that pattern becomes the trust file lenders are actually looking for. This single habit does more than years of perfect debt avoidance ever will. The newcomer instinct to play it safe makes sense on paper. It's exactly how trust gets built in most financial systems abroad. In a lot of those systems, a clean ledger is the entire pitch you need to make. But the American system runs on a completely different kind of evidence. It doesn't trust the absence of a problem. It trusts a visible, repeated pattern of responsible activity. That distinction is the entire reason this mistake happens so often. It isn't a knowledge gap about debt. It's a mismatch between two completely different definitions of being responsible. Lenders aren't punishing you for being careful with money. They're simply unable to verify trust they can't observe. Once you see the system this way, the fix becomes almost mechanical. Keep the card open, keep it active, keep the balance small. Pay it off every single month, just not before the statement closes. If the timing feels risky to track by hand, automate it. Set one small bill to autopay through the card and pay the card off separately. Let the usage register, then clear it every single cycle. That's the entire mechanism, repeated until the file builds real weight. That's not a workaround or a trick. It's simply how this kind of file gets written. Nobody arrives here knowing this because nobody back home ever needed to. The score isn't punishing you for being careful. It's simply unable to read carefulness as trust without some activity behind it. Once you give it that activity, it starts working in your favor instead of against you. It's a small adjustment, but it changes how the entire system sees you from this point forward. And the version of responsible that actually protects you here starts the next time your statement closes.